Hey everyone, it's Dr. Hodges. Today I want to kind of talk a little bit about stress and weight gain. I was recently asked about how chronic stress can affect your weight and does it have a negative impact on your weight? And I wholeheartedly, resoundingly say yes, it can. And trying to incorporate ways to reduce stress is going to be imperative if you want to have good long-term weight management. I mean, I think that that's one of the reasons why exercise, especially low impact exercise, can be so good, because that is a natural way to help to reduce your stress and that cortisol load. But what is cortisol? So cortisol is just a hormone that helps your body with fat and carbohydrate metabolism. Particularly, it is secreted in times of stress. So for instance, if you are running from a bear, or if you're about to give a great big speech in front of 200 people, or if you're about to propose to your girlfriend, your heart's gonna race, your palms might get sweaty, you might feel a little sick. Guess what? You're having a big old rush of cortisol. And to make sure that your brain is firing, that all your muscles are firing, that cortisol is going to kick in, and that's going to give all these different pathways all the extra energy that needs to get the job done. So it kind of makes me think of whenever I was in surgery residency. You know, you get that rush of insulin, you know, the traumas come in, you're doing your thing, and at the end of the night you're just exhausted, not just because you've been up for, oh my God, a day and a half, but also because you're crashing from having that cortisol and that adrenaline rush. So I think what's interesting, what all the research is bearing out, is that when you have sustained levels of high cortisol, so it's it can be behavioral, it can be environmental. So maybe there's stresses at job, in personal relationships, maybe you have a chronic illness. All of these things have a negative impact on how your body is going to properly metabolize fats and carbohydrates, and it also is going to negatively impact your cravings as well. Additionally, it has a negative impact on your melatonin that's produced and the sleep-wake cycle. So what happens with elevated cortisol? It interferes with your sleeping, you're stressed, you can't sleep, and then because you can't sleep, you have insomnia, that actually increases your cortisol more. It's kind of like the, you know, dog chasing its tail. It's the exact same thing with diabetes. What happens with diabetes, you become more insulin resistant, and so now your body tries to create more insulin. Your glucose is going everywhere. Then you take medications. It can cause you to gain weight, because oftentimes the medications are telling your body, you know, to make more insulin, or maybe you're just having to take a shot of insulin, and insulin is a hormone of storage. So now you're going to start gaining weight. It makes it much more difficult to lose weight once you start taking insulin, and that too now causes you to become even more insulin resistant. So because of the extra weight gain. So, you know, I think what is important to know is that whenever you are, hi there, whenever you're kind of embarking on a weight loss program or trying to improve your wellness, what is going to be key is finding a way to, number one, mitigate the stress in your life, and number two, finding ways to get good, restful sleep. Those are going to be key. I promise you, there is not an athlete that's working at the Olympic level that does not have breathing techniques, that does not have stress management, and that does not aim to have a good night's sleep for them to be able to operate at a peak performance. Believe me, if it's good enough for the goats, it's good enough for us, right? And so, you know, what is a good stress reliever? I would say just going out for a walk. I love my walks. I love my Margie, but I'm like, oh girl, you gotta stay at the house. like this is mom's time to like go out. I'm doing this for me. I'm going to burn some calories, but I also get this great endorphin rush. I used to jog, and I don't jog. I just walk. But it's a wonderful stress reliever. I'm able to work stuff out in my brain. I just feel so much better. And it's so many times exercise can do that. Now, find an exercise that you like. Maybe that's cycling. I hate to cycle, but my husband loves it, you know? Do that. Yoga's really good, so I hear. I don't do yoga. My partner, he used to always do yoga. My mother-in-law, she gets on the elliptical and she does Pilates. I love Pilates. It's just kind of crummy at the gym where I have a membership. They only offer Pilates classes like in the middle of the day. So I'm usually like in clinic or in the OR, so I can't really take advantage of that. So I just encourage you, number one, get out there, move. That is going to help you de-stress. Number two, pray. I pray. My husband just sat me down this morning and he wants to try to start doing a new Bible study, so I'm really excited about that. Pray, meditate, journal. If you can, do that the first thing in the morning, and that will kind of get your head straight. And then at the very end of the day, I'd say pray again, number one. But then number two, work on trying to give yourself some good sleep hygiene. And so what's good sleep hygiene? Number one, don't eat in your room. Also, I remember one of my really good friends, she was having a lot of stress and insomnia, and this was like kind of during medical school. And her tutor was giving her ideas about good sleep hygiene, and he actually recommended that she take the TV out of her room so that when you go to your bedroom and you go to sleep, your bed is for sleeping. Another thing I would recommend is make sure that your blue light blocker is on your phone at night. And for me, I use readers, and all of my readers are blue light blockers. There's a lot of really good science. On the benefits of blocking blue light to help so it won't disrupt your circadian rhythm. And I think the last thing I would recommend is give yourself a break. I think it's very easy whenever you're going along in a weight loss program to get discouraged. You might have a high the first couple of weeks, but you know when the rubber meets the road? When you're about 3 to 4 weeks in, when you're like 2.5 months in, 3 months in, and now you've reached a little weight plateau, and that little voice in the side of your head, you're thinking, oh God, here we go. I knew it wasn't gonna last. Or is this thing gonna fail like all the other times before? I hear that so many times. And I just encourage you, just keep on, just keep pressing on, because you're worth it. And so, does stress have a negative impact on your weight? It absolutely does. So my challenge to you is to work on ways to de-stress.